morning, everybody, and welcome to another class of online catechism. Last class, we saw lesson number 10, which was the Syro Malabar Church and Apostolic Missionary Activities, part 1. Now, I am sure you all very much loved the documentary video prepared by the Syro Malabar Internet Mission, which basically outlined the entire history and till now the activities carried out by the Syro Malabar Church. Now, in part 2 of this lesson today, we're just going to take a look at the Marthoma Christians and how their missionary activities were carried out, and some of the mission dioceses of today. So, without further ado, let's start this lesson. Introduction. The Christian community formed by the proclamation of the Gospel of St. Thomas grew strong in Kerala. They are known as the St. Thomas Nazranis. They are fully aware of the apostolic origin of the church. This is the only church known by the name of the founder apostle. No other apostolic church is known by the name of the founder, but only by the place of origin. Missionary character of Marthoma Christians. Marthoma Christians had their own style of evangelization. They gave primary importance to keep up their Christian faith among the majority of non-Christians and to bear witness to their faith. They never tried to impose their faith on others through violence or compulsion. They were respected as a community, maintaining high moral standards. They had a good position in the community in which they lived. People of other religions also loved and respected the Marthoma Christians. Marthoma Nazranis were missionaries by their life based on faith. There is a tradition that missionaries from India went up even to China. Still, it is not wrong to say that the different religious faiths existing here from ancient times, the tolerant attitude of Indian culture, caste system, etc., weakened the evangelical apostolic activities of the Marthoma Christians. The missionary activities in India became active and alive with the coming of the Western missionaries in the 16th century. But in the background of the later historical events, Syro Malabar Church could not continue her missionary activities. In the Syro Malabar Church, there has been a progressive growth in missionary vocations. Many from this church came forward to be priests and religious, but they had to serve in Latin dioceses and Latin congregations. Christians here gave personal and money to help the missionary attempts of the Western Church as well. Over 70% of the members of the many religious communities and missionary organizations in India were from the Syro Malabar Church. They became witnesses to Jesus by their committed service in and outside India. Syro Malabar Church and emigrations. Until the 16th century, Marthoma Nazranis had the authority to conduct church activities all over India. The archdeacon who ruled the church at that time was the Archdeacon of India. But with the advent of the Western missionaries, they lost their governing power. Considering the constant request of Marthoma Nazranis, on 21st December 1923, Pope Pius XI established the so-called Syro Malabar hierarchy, which is a special governing setup that we have. The area of activity of the church was limited between Bharatapuzha in the north and River Pamba in the south. The hard-working Marthoma Christians sought new zones of life and activities and emigrated to different parts of Kerala and even outside Kerala, which is why we are in Coimbatore now. The Syro Malabar Church has a responsibility to give pastoral service to those who immigrated to different parts of Kerala and other states by establishing parishes or dioceses here. Hence the reason why we have the Ramanathapuram diocese, which was branched off from the Palakkad diocese, which was again branched off from the Thrissur diocese. A person's life of faith is based on the faith tradition of his mother church. He gets his spirituality for his faith life from the liturgy of the individual church. Hence, each individual church has a responsibility to give pastoral service to its members wherever they may live. This is the reason why we try to set up mission centers so that we can build more churches. We can build more churches for the people here. The church teaches this in the decree of Oriental churches. We should pay attention to protect and develop each individual church in the world. Wherever necessary, Parishes and one's own hierarchy must be established for the spiritual good of the faithful. The Second Vatican Council teaches that each individual church has a freedom and the right to proclaim the Word of God based on its faith traditions and to establish self-governing setup and grow. With this purpose, Tellicherry Diocese was established in 1953 for the Syro Malabar members who emigrated to Malabar region. In 1955, the areas of jurisdiction of certain dioceses were broadened. The boundary of Changanacherry Diocese up to Kanyakumari, Thrissur Diocese to Coimbatore, and Tellicherry Diocese to Mysore and Mangalapuram. There was no special setup for the spiritual needs of the immigrants who went to different parts of India and other places seeking job. They became members of Latin diocese where they lived. They practiced a liturgy which they were not accustomed to. As a part of solving this problem, the Diocese of Kalyan was established for the Marthoma Christians of Mumbai, Pune, and Nasik on 30th April 1988, and the Diocese of Chicago in 2001 for the Marthoma Christians in America outside India. On 6 March 2012 was the Diocese of Faridabad established. But even today, in India itself, members of the Syro Malabar Church fail to get their own liturgical life. Hence, if necessary, pastoral service set up for Syro Malabar Diocese are to be arranged in places like Bangalore, Chennai, etc. in India and in many countries outside India, which is why we have the broadened eparchy of Ramanathapuram now. Missionary Diocese of Syro Malabar Church. The members of the Syro Malabar Church desired to work among the non-Christians in different parts of India. The leaders of the Syro Malabar Church presented the desire to the Pope constantly. Consequently, the Syro Malabar Church got the mission dioceses of Chanda, Ujjain, Satna, Sagar, Jagadalpur, Bijnor, Rajkot, Gorakhpur, Takalai and Adilabad. Still, we are in need of more mission dioceses for our missionary activities. Now, talking about missionary activity, I would like to give you one activity today. What you'll have to do is, of the mission dioceses that I had mentioned in the previous slide, I would like you to write a one-page report on any one of those dioceses. That will be your activity. It just has to be a one-page report, not more than that. Life witness is the missionary activity of each Christian. In India, with people deeply rooted in various religious traditions, the life of love of the Christians is the most powerful means to proclaim Jesus. Another means is dialogue among religions. Among the Christians and Hindus in India, life of dialogue has always been there. Through dialogue, the Church understands the faith traditions of other religions and invites them to share the God experience of Christian tradition, which is why you can see a lot of traditional relevances between our religions. A missionary engaged in dialogue should be in good relations with the people around and be ready to help them, even their opponents, in their need. Christians, along with the other people of religions, should work for the social and economic welfare of the society. We must be able to share our faith and God experience through this. Fasting, penance, and ashram life have much importance in Indian and Syro Malabar traditions. Hence, the Church exhorts that the consecrated persons in Syro Malabar Church must be evangelists capable of instilling zeal and piety in others. Our missionaries should try to form local worshipping communities, discussed with much importance in the apostolic teaching of Pope Paul VI on evangelization today. These communities should come together to listen to the Word of God, meditate on it, to receive the sacraments and to share in the banquet of love. In concluding remarks, the members of the Church adopt a missionary style suited to the culture of each locality. Thus, through various styles, Syro Malabar Church continues her missionary movement. Let us be proud of this missionary move and cooperate with it as far as we can. Now, what can we do here? As you know, we have our Mission Sunday coming up in the upcoming weeks. So let's try to participate in that fruitfully through prayer, sacrifice, and donations. So with that, we will end our class today. Thank you for listening in, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye-bye.